As people love figures, I will provide you some. So, in the night, at 2 hours, 8 minutes and 10 seconds, the liftoff will take place. 2 minutes, the liftoff at 45 kilometers of altitude. The 4 boosters will be jettisoned. At 5 minutes after the liftoff, at 150 kilometers of altitude, the second stage will be separated. At 9 minutes after the liftoff, the third stage will inject the frigate upper stage and the payload into a suborbital. The first burns of the frigate upper stage will take place during 40 minutes. Then, during 3 hours, a long ballistic phase will take place. At the end of this one, the second burns will take place during a few minutes, just in order to circularize the orbit and to put the payload into the separations orbit. Last, at 3 hours, 38 minutes after the liftoff, the simultaneous separation of the 2 spacecraft will occur.
Now, if you take a look there at the top right-hand side, you can see the big grey mast. It's just attaching there on the bottom of the fairing. That's called the KZM, and inside it are what we call the umbilical line, taking information from the satellites to the teams on the ground. And those are about to be disconnected.
Largage des ombilicaux, ciao.
And the range operations manager there has announced that they're being disconnected. We can't actually see that. They're inside the mast, but they drop into a basket, and it means that we're no longer getting information from the spacecraft. Edward to go and watch the launch in real life from the viewing station, and he will come back and tell us what he saw. And we are 1 minute and 49 seconds now to launch. Watch out for that KZM mast pulling away 20 seconds before launch, 27 seconds rather, and then you'll see another mast below it called the VKM will pull away after that. Quick word about the ignition sequence on Soyuz. We have a system for checking the health of the engines before it leaves the pad. First of all, we switch on the engines on the 4 boosters and the core stage 16 seconds before liftoff, but then we throttle them up gradually.
12 de DDO, attention pour moins 1 minute.
To check the engines are working.
Top, H0 moins 1 minute.
We are 1 minute to launch. We're orbiting the 9th and 10th satellites in Galileo, Europe's global satellite navigation system, the European Union and the European Space Agency. Our very best wishes to all the teams for the launch, and also to the industrial consortium led by OHB, and to everyone in the ground stations. Good luck.
Largage du KZM. À 12 de DDO, attention pour le début de la séquence d'allumage lanceur. Top, H0 moins 20 secondes. Largage du VKM, allumage triétage, à 12 de DDO. Attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Et décollage PS12. Les paramètres du système de commande du lanceur sont nominaux. Stabilisation du lanceur est correcte.
And there she goes, the 12th Soyuz to lift
Les
off
attitudes du
from
lanceur
this
suivant les
pad
trois
here.
axes sont nominales.
The Guyana Space Center lighting up the night sky. Itself against the gravity of our planet, delivering a total thrust the equivalent of 3 Airbus 380s. Pretty impressive. Powerful stuff.
Le vol est nominal. Les paramètres de structure du lanceur sont nominaux.
He's telling us that everything's normal and going according to plan. Right now the boosters are doing all the work. They give us a short boost to get us away from Earth. They're delivering 80% of that thrust right now. Look at the bottom of the
Les
screen.
paramètres propulsifs sont conformes à l'attendu.
He's saying everything's going as expected. Down at the bottom, the altitude on the bottom left is 38 kilometers above the Earth. The distance is the distance from the pad, if you were to draw a line. And we can see those boosters falling
Les
away
paramètres à
there.
bord sont normaux.
You might have just noticed 4 dots.
Séparation des blocs BV guidés.
And there we get some images from a previous launch when we had cameras on top of the launch vehicle on Soyuz. See how those boosters twist and turn as they fall back to Earth. It's all part of the plan. So we're now burning the
La
main...
stabilisation du lanceur suite à séparation est correcte.
He says that everything's correct after the separation. So we're burning the main core stage. It's called the Block A in the business, and that burns for just under 5 minutes. A word about the confirmations that we're getting from Joël Egalji. You can see him there on the right-hand side of the screen. We get the actual confirmations slightly after the milestones occurred, sometimes
Le déroulement du vol est conforme à l'attendu.
because information has to go via Moscow. So we see the key moments as they're scheduled to happen. It sometimes takes a little bit of time for that information to get to us. So, Edward's just come back into the commentary box. So how did that feel, watching your
Les paramètres à bord sont
satellites?
normaux.
It was incredible, Katie. I have the adrenaline up to my head. It was a beautiful view. The sky was completely clear, and I could even see the separation of the boosters happening above us. It was, I've been working on this program now since 13 years, and to see this way beautifully the rocket going up is an amazing experience.
And now we're
Séparation des deux
losing
demi-coiffes.
the fairing, which we don't need anymore because we are out of the dense part of the atmosphere, so there's no friction. And we can see your satellites for the first time. What are we looking at?
Indeed, the golden structure you see is the Fregat upper stage,
Conforme à l'attendu.
which later on will deliver the satellites from the lower orbit in which the Soyuz will bring higher orbit. You see also the very well now the satellites with the where you see the black circle in the middle is the navigation antenna.
La propulsion du bloc A est conforme à l'attendu.
The antenna above that is the search and rescue antenna, and on the side you see very well the solar arrays, which of course now are folded up, and later on we'll need to deploy.
And they will open up just like a butterfly.
Indeed.
Coming out of its cocoon.
And in the middle you see the dispenser to which the satellites are attached.
And here we have the scheduled moment when we
Début des opérations au profit du bloc I.
ignite the 3rd stage and separate the 2nd stage. And there you see the lattice work structure that attaches those, or is
Allumage
between
bloc
those
I, extinction bloc A et séparation.
2 stages being jettisoned. So,
Largage de la section arrière.
so this is your 7th launch on board Soyuz for the Galileo constellation, and this was the launch 5.5 minutes ago. Lifting off from the pad here on the
Bonne
edge
stabilisation du lanceur suite à séparation.
of the Amazon rainforest and the Guyana Space Center
Acquisition de la télémesure par la station navale
now received the signal at the SNA tracking station with the naval boat. We have a new facility here at the Guyana Space Center. It's called the Frigate Fueling Facility, or F-Cube. This mission's the first time we've used it.